What's up, everybody? I'm Rick,
And I'm Anna.
and welcome to a review of Naruto Shippuden: The Six Tails Unleashed filler arc. The Six Tails Unleashed is a filler arc in Naruto Shippuden. It covers episode 144 to 151 and deals with the bond between masters and students. In it, Utakata, the Jinchuriki of the Six Tails, and Hotaru get help from Konoha to face a team of bandits after a secret jutsu guarded by Hotaru. Anna,
Yes.
you're currently on your Naruto Shippuden journey, reacting to
Journey.
yes, journey. That's how it to a lot of these episodes on this channel. But when we come face to face with fillers, we switch from reactions to reviews when it's a filler arc. So in this case, that's what we did. We watched the whole Six Tails Unleashed arc by ourselves, and now are here to review it. So Anna,
Yes.
let's review.
I know what you're gonna ask
Let's
me.
review. What did you think of this arc?
I did not like it.
Oh,
Okay, here's the thing. I don't know if I've been as harsh with other filler arcs before from Naruto, and I wouldn't necessarily say that this was the worst, you know? I think there were a few interesting elements here to think about. They definitely used some of or at least of the knowledge of the viewers, such as Jiraiya's death, that the characters are not yet aware of, to kind of pull more emotions out of the viewers.
yeah.
Right?
So it's about students and masters.
Exactly. So I think there were definitely elements that worked pretty well, but altogether, I thought the story was weak. How many times can you tell the Naruto story again? And this time you have two characters which basically both have the Naruto story.
So
at the
can
same
you
time.
elaborate? What do you mean by
Hold
the
on,
Naruto
I am
story?
not done.
Oh, okay.
What's with that weird romantic tension? Not even romantic, it's sexual. What's with that weird sexual tension? Did it need to be like that? I mean, gosh. What is that? That weird connection between Utakata and Hotaru. What is that?
You felt that there was some romantic?
No, not romantic, sexual.
Oh,
Very sexual.
okay.
Especially in her character.
Mm.
I mean, coming from her character, you know? It's unnecessary and it's out of nowhere and it completely distracts from everything else. I don't know, that's pretty much what I had to say. That kind of upset
Okay,
me.
so let's step back and
Yeah.
analyze these elements separately. First
Yes.
of all, what do you mean by the Naruto story? You say how many times can they tell the Naruto story?
You know, it's the same, it's the Naruto story. So it's like a boy who has been used as some sort of tool of war, been used to have or to carry on a legacy that was too heavy for him to carry, and hated by his people for that reason afterwards, and then felt like he was ostracized, but in the end he has to rise as their savior or something like this. Or maybe not necessarily in Utakata's case, he didn't do that. He didn't get to that, but Hotaru definitely has that story, you know, like she has the scroll of the forbidden jutsu hidden in her body or something, and
The jutsu itself
the
is in her
jutsu
body.
itself, right, that was it. The jutsu itself is in her body. And when she goes back to her village, the people don't want her there because she brings misfortune or something, and sell her out to the bandits. It's like, is there no other story to be told, you know?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I think it's more general than that even, right? To me, the Naruto story is more than just a kid used as a tool of war. As we've seen with Sora, as we're seeing with Hotaru here, with Utakata. It's also the lonely kid.
Right, that is true. Yes.
So these fillers are usually one of these two tropes, right? Like I mentioned, Sora was basically a clone of Naruto, right? Even in his powers. But otherwise, a lot of these filler arcs are just, this is a kid who's lonely, and he understands, or Naruto understands him because
Right.
he's always been alone.
Just like me.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's hated, and Naruto understands that because he's always been hated. Or he's been put in a situation where there's some huge power inside of them, and people hate them or want to use them for that. and Naruto understands that because
Exactly.
that's him too, or it's a mixture of all of those. And in this case, I think you felt. Uh, Correct me if I'm wrong. You felt that the Naruto story was being shoved down your throat because those two, both Hotaru and Hutagata, are basically a mixture of all of these elements.
Yeah.
All of these elements
you
that
have
make
the better words than me, but yeah, that's exactly.
all of these that makes Naruto who he is. They also have,
Yeah.
they have the power hidden inside them. They're lonely. They're hated.
So, I mean, like I said, I don't necessarily think it was terrible altogether. I'm just kind of tired
You've
of
hit.
seeing the same thing over and over again. And yes, the sexual tension was too much and unnecessary.
Explain exactly what you mean. Like with some scenes.
It's just the way they made her character, Hotaru, you know? She has this like way of talking and behaving that is, I feel, heavily sexualized. And that's not to say that other characters, female characters in Naruto, are not like that. There's one in particular that I can think of, the redhead who's following Sasuke around.
Karin.
And other female characters too, but I feel like in her case, that's pretty much half of it. Half of her character was the way she was talking. And it's not even in like a way she never says she's attracted to him. It doesn't necessarily feel like there's a romantic interest on her side. So then why do you make her talk like that and act like that? When she wants to show him the thing embedded in her back, the way she starts undressing herself, like, why? Why do you do it like that? It's like, it's too visually suggestive and it's unnecessary. That's the problem, is that it's unnecessary. If you wanted to make some sort of romance out of it, a romance that could never happen or something like this, then I would maybe get it a little bit, like you want to build that tension between them, but you don't. That's not part of the story. So why sexualize it? It's out of nowhere. It's bad. I'm sorry. It's just bad.
That's very interesting. Actually, this did not cross my mind at
Okay.
all as we were watching. So it's interesting to have another perspective on that. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. My thoughts, in these reactions, I usually rarely give my thoughts because, of course, I've seen Naruto Shippuden before and read the manga mostly. And so I don't want to influence any of the things you're thinking. But with these filler reviews, I go all out.
Okay.
Okay, so
Go ahead.
my thoughts, let me tell you, there are things I like about this. Okay, let's say like as many highs as there are doubles the amount of lows, if that makes sense. For example, Utagata as a character, I think is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, he's a good character. I liked him.
I think he has a nice design. I think he has a nice, interesting backstory.
Right. A good personality too.
Yes, exactly. And for him, you understand the fact that he's exactly like Naruto because
he is exactly like Naruto.
Exactly. He's
Yes.
a Jinchuriki also, just like Gaara, you understand. So yeah, that's one of the highs for me. I really like that. I really like how it ended. He doesn't even get to like let her know that he's being captured or that anything's happening to him. She's just there waiting for him, and she'll wait seemingly forever.
Yeah, until she figures out that he's not coming back, and then you don't know like what is she gonna think when he doesn't come back.
Exactly, she'll think he abandoned me.
Yeah.
He was always very reluctant to being her master. So I think that's also a very powerful moment. Lows, the villains and fillers are usually pretty, disposable. Like you forget about them as soon as it's over. In this case, as I was watching, I was forgetting about them. Like it was.
At some point, the leader, he was talking, and I was thinking, like, who was that guy? Did I see him before? And I had seen him. He had already been introduced once as the leader of the bandits. Yes, and I saw him the second time. That was like, yeah, okay, I remember. It took me way too long. And he's supposed to be the main villain.
So yeah, forgettable. The final act also very forgettable. There's the tension doesn't rise to a point that is interesting or that you feel that there's a danger at any moment. They have Team Kakashi without Kakashi, so Yamato and Sai and Sakura fighting these villagers and these other random bandits, and there's no like interest in that from the part of the viewer, or from my part at least. I was like, I don't want to see that. It seems like a fight that is being stretched out just so that they don't get to go help Naruto, but really they shouldn't have any issues with these guys. And then Naruto in his main fight wasn't even really a fight against the leader of the bandits.
Right.
So that was uninteresting in every possible way. The fact that Utakata was the six-tail Jinchuriki wasn't used to his full potential leader. We only see the beast like slightly at the end. We don't really see him making use of that power that often. No matter how cool I was saying the character was, I feel like there was more to do with him.
Yeah.
And just in general, the storyline is kind of forgettable. Like this girl who wants to help her village come back on top, and they think that this little jutsu they have can help them compete with the
But we
great
see it
nations.
being used, and it's like really not much.
Yeah. Like, no, it's uninteresting.
Yeah.
That's the biggest flaw of this to me, is that no matter if they have interesting elements, the overall thing is uninteresting.
There is one more thing that bothered me that I actually forgot to mention, which is the like overly extended exposition dialogue. Especially in the beginning, in the first part of the story, we get a lot of the backstory through them just talking about it. And not even talking in an interesting way. It's just the two characters who were there, who know what happened, just, do you remember when that happened? And then they proceed to tell the whole story. Like, okay. I feel like a good way in which anime usually do that, and that I like very much and it works really well, is that as the story that you're watching progresses, you get more and more elements like flashbacks and stuff like this from the past that make you understand what is happening right now. But like we didn't get any of that. Like we get the whole relationship of the two of them in like a 3 minutes conversation of, hey, do you remember when you saved my life? And then they proceed to talk to show the whole story. Like, okay, this is like, it doesn't let you, you know, wander and discover and like ask yourself, like, oh, what's the relationship between them? Why is it like this?
And also, why do both? You know, why explain that you saved my life and then show that you saved my life?
Yeah, exactly.
I think as I was talking and explaining my thoughts, it dawned on me this would have been better without Konoha.
Probably yes.
And this,
I think so.
This would have been much more.
Or at least without as many of them.
Yeah.
You could have made up a story in which like just one or two of the characters that we know.
Naruto and Yamato alone.
Yeah, exactly. Would end up there. But a whole team, it was not very...
Because we have a lot of extras, right?
Yeah.
Half of the villains, no, all of the villains, but let's say, you know, the bad guy needs a team. So, okay, whatever. Maybe he has 1 or 2 guys with him, but he has 4. I don't remember the name of any of them, you know? So, like, did we need to have 4? And then Sai and Sakura do nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Sakura just like, she's there in the beginning when they get to the hideout or whatever place on the mountain. And then she stays there, and for like a lot of the story, she doesn't show up anymore.
Yeah.
I think like half of it, she's not there anymore until they go back there.
Yeah, so it would have been more interesting if you take out some of the extra elements.
Yeah.
And even if you have no Konoha, then you leave less of a chance for us to compare once again, oh, this is like Naruto, right? Because Naruto isn't there.
Yeah.
To hit you on the head with the fact that, oh, this girl, she reminds me of me.
I feel like it would have been interesting in general to make more stories in which we just see other things that happen in this world, in which Naruto is not necessarily directly implicated.
Yeah.
Yes. And I feel like it would also make the parallel more interesting to draw afterwards, when you do realize like, oh, actually this is a story kind of like Naruto's, but look, he's not the only one.
He's not even there to influence it. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, it was a missed opportunity in general for me.
Especially because the character, Utakata, he's a canon character, right? Like he's the
Jinchuriki of the sixth
yeah. I feel like there was a waste of a good character that was already, like that already existed, you know? Could have written a better story for him altogether. Or better made story.
Though it was disappointing, all in all, you know, we're watching anime, it's still fun.
Yeah, right. And like we're having a, you know, a good time, even pointing out, or as we're watching, noticing all of these elements of that are not so good.
Yeah.
But it's fine in a way. Like, it's not too annoying. It's an anime.
And not all fillers are created equal.
Yeah,
You know, like we've watched some filler arcs that were pretty good. So we will continue with this format as we go on further into Naruto Shippuden. So reactions for the canon episodes and for the filler arcs, it's gonna be reviews. So this was our review of the Six Tails Unleashed arc. If you've seen that arc, let us know what you thought of it in the comment section below. Like this video if you did, hit the notification bell to be notified whenever our next video drop, and have a nice day.